Hello. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Patty. How are you?
Check that mute.
That's right. I usually try to keep it on most of the time. So, how's everything going?
I'm a little frazzled, but I think fine. I mean, at some point, there's only so much you can do, and the rest is rest will just happen as it happens.
Yeah. You're almost there. You're almost to the finish line.
I know. Someone said today, they said, don't you know it's supposed to rain? I said, not till Sunday. Don't tell me that. Not till Sunday.
That's what the weather report says. So,
I mean, I'm all for rain, but not on Saturday.
yeah. Oh, you're frozen now. Lindsay, are you there? Uh-oh.
Karen, your internet is going in and out. I don't know if it's yours or mine.
Well, I don't know. You were frozen on my screen and I was trying to see if Lindsay was there, but I couldn't hear him either. Lindsay, are you there?
He's got it on mute, I see.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes he has to call in on his phone. He gets really bad reception at his house. I know.
Are you okay? You cut out for a little bit, but you're back. So hopefully we can keep my fingers crossed this works.
I might turn off my video because my internet is sometimes unstable.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, John.
Oh, you're on mute, Karen.
I'm down in an area of the house where if I'm not talking, I don't want to, I don't want to have a lot of background noise. So sorry about that. But I was going to say I went to the pickleball tournament on Labor Day, not tournament, mixer on Labor Day. And there were like 45 people there. It was great. It's a good time. And Patty, I was hoping I would meet you there.
I didn't make it. I haven't started playing yet again since my surgery, and Cindy told me to come down anyway and just mix, and I should have, but I just didn't make it. So.
Well, you'll get back into it. You'll be there.
I will. I'm baby steps here. Baby steps. I'm gonna start hiking with the dogs first, and then I'll tackle pickleball. Okay, looks like we're gonna have a quorum, which is good. I've got my video turned off because I'm just not sure how stable my internet is. Okay, 7:32. I think we're waiting for Carrie, but I think we've got a quorum. So I think we can go ahead and call the meeting to order. Okay, approval of minutes. Everybody have a chance to look at the minutes? Have any comments or corrections?
I do have a question. I looked at the minutes and I didn't know if this needed to be on here, as we did discuss that I was going to be the liaison for Hawthorns.
I think I put that in the
Oh,
previous minutes.
oh, okay. Okay,
But-
because I did, that the last month was my first meeting. So, okay,
I'll double check it though, Karen, and if not, I will make that correction.
okay.
But yes, we did discuss that you would be the Hawthorne representative, so. Okay, any other comments or suggestions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion,
Second,
Second,
all in favor?
aye.
I,
Lindsay, can you hear us?
we don't even see him yet.
No, I don't.
I've not read the minutes yet, so.
It's being too honest, Dave.
I'm really hurt, Dave, that you didn't read them like the second I sent them out. Really hurt. Deeply, deeply hurt. You don't look too affected. Okay.
No, I can't get them.
So new business, it's not on the agenda. I know we're not supposed to do this. Oh, actually, oral communications. Anybody from the town here for oral communications? No?
Nope.
Okay. New business, the only thing I wanted to bring up that wasn't in time for the agenda is you all should have received, I believe, an email from Melissa Thurman at the town to sign up for Brown Act training.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes, we did. I did.
you did?
Yes.
If you have not received that, let me know, or let Melissa know at the town, because we all need to sign up for that training. Okay, let's go forward with old business then. Zots to Tots Town Picnic is upon us very quickly. John, you want to go first with anything on Zots?
Sure, I think we're good to go. So let's see, how do we outline? First of all, we have more registrants at this point than we did at this time last time.
Oh, holy
So-
cow, how many do we have?
Let me look it up again here. I just sent something to, we have 272.
Oh, holy cow,
That's a lot, because
that's a lot.
Yeah, we
Okay,
would say, oh, 300 is, that's just the pre-registrants 2 days before.
well, that's great news though, because we were a little worried.
Yeah,
Well, I was.
now I'm on the other side again and say,
Got enough hats?
yeah, exactly. I'm glad we did the hats too, because if I was trying to do t-shirt sizes, it'd be impossible,
be
with
crazy.
hundreds of people. Yeah, doing sizes. the day
But that's
before.
great news. So that really picked up this week.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I do think that it was the kind of this, not only, I still think last time it was in October, mid-October, and here now we're doing mid-September, and I think people don't pay attention until after Labor Day. I think is part of it. And the other is, I do think there was some targeting, good, I'll say, kind of promotional targeting this week, because there were emails sent very specifically to the softball league, the soccer league, and the pickleball league, right? And so it's all of the active people in Portola Valley, and that represents like 400 people, right? And that's just the adults, right? And then you add their children, You're talking about close to 1,000 people probably. So anyway, so it's all good. I think everything else is good to go. So we're meeting at 8:30 at Triangle Park to do the briefing with the police. We have enough volunteers, it appears. At the starting line, I certainly have enough volunteers. I think I have everything. I went down and picked up. So by the way, I have the safety vests I need to bring at the 8:30, megaphone. Anyway, waiver forms, cash box. Patty, what's the plan for the tables and chairs again? You're going to pick them up on tomorrow or something?
No, they're going to be delivered to the town center tomorrow. I don't know what time. They'll call me. It's going to be delivered along with everything else. So I can text you when they arrive. I can either bring them over to you or you can come pick them up.
Well, I'm going to want to get them to the, I'm going to leave them down at Rosati's in the parking lot there. So overnight, I think. So I can do that. If you were,
I'll just text you when they're there and you can let me know when you're going to come pick them up then.
Sure. That'd be great. And again, so we have hats, and then on the finish line, I don't know if you guys everybody caught it, but there's going to be this. Last time it was a little hard to pick out the finish line, and this time it is not going to be hard because there's this inflatable thing that goes over the whole road. It's massive. That Patty got, and so and then yep. Right.
If you can't see it, you're in trouble. You shouldn't be driving, trust me.
I think there are enough volunteers there. We do once again have medals for everybody. We have more awards this time, actually, a few more. I think we have 10. So it's going to be 2 for the adults runners. We're not doing the adult bicyclists. It's not really a bicycle race like that per se. But then we have for the kids, we have 2 for teenagers and 2 for children, boy and a girl. And then we have 2 for bicyclists, teenagers, and 2 for bicyclist kids. It might be a little confusing to pick out, like, are you under 12 or over 12? And just figure out who finished first. But anyway, Bill's going to be figuring that out. And then we have a timer as well. People kept saying, what was my time? And we were like, I don't know. It's a fun run.
On that timer, John, I did plug it in. It works. It looks very nice. There is a Bluetooth to it. So Bill's going to try and install the Bluetooth and then see maybe if he can work with Mike Chang to synchronize it. But
yeah,
if not, we'll just need to know how to start it.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, so I think it's Mike Banks would probably be is who I'm saying. Please call Bill. By the way, can you text me Bill's contact information? I guess I plugged it in that day. I'll look. Because he's going to call, and then it'll be he should be able to hear. Can you text me Bill's? Oh wait, don't text me anything while we're online here. No. Can you just text me his contact information? Yeah, it's not in my system, and so I'm going to have him call, and he'll be able to hear. Because this is going to be one of these very loud things.
Are you pistol?
Yeah, it's not a pistol. What do you call the ones that are you kind of have though? It goes
air horns.
Air horn. It's an air horn. And so
so be able to hear the air horn from town center.
Maybe, certainly over the phone. So and then of course there's the whole rolling shutdown, and I know that email or that letter flyer or whatever went out to everybody. I hope everybody got it. So hopefully that'll, even if we didn't maybe get to absolutely everybody, I mean, we sort of did through that. I hope everybody kind of can read their mail. And I know the signs are flashing out there right now. The one funny thing it says is road closure 7 a.m. to 3 p.m.
I know. I think that's going to confuse people, but
Right. And then what else is there?
I dropped off sandwich boards today with signs at Drager's, Bianchini's, the hardware store, Alpine Hills, corner of Los Trancos, and the corner of Alpine and Portola.
Yeah, great. And I think so. It feels like Ed did kind of, get volunteers and has assignments for them. Davey, what's that?
Did we reach? I don't feel like I've gotten any messages from like the PVSD PTO at all reminding us about Sept and the road closure.
Yeah, the schools.
Yeah.
I sent a message to the superintendent of schools, who's also going to have a booth at the town picnic, and she assured me that she informed both schools. So.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So at least in terms of participants, it's not. I don't think it's an issue. I think we're going to have. Well, we already have almost 300.
Well, yeah, it's both participants and just another way to remind the community that the road's closed.
For sure. So that'll be. I'm sure there will be a couple people no matter what we do. And then what else? Oh yeah, bibs. I think that's it. It's still going to be chaos. It's chaos at the beginning because you have hundreds of people showing up like 10 minutes before, 15 minutes before, and you're trying to get them registered, handing them bibs, handing them even hats, and then up on the road and the cops there. But anyway, it's all part of the fun.
Did you get the cash box? Do you have the cash box?
I do, and I don't know if it's enough, but anyway. And the other thing that happens is people show up and they're like, "Can I PayPal you, right, or Venmo you?" But I actually think I can work that out too this time. So anyway, I think we're good to go for Zots to Tots, as far as I can tell.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we are good. Got a lot of things happening on the finish line this year, which will be good. Bill has 5 volunteers helping him, so I think that should be good. We'll have water at the finish line. We should have Bliss Pops. I've been promised that the Bliss Pops will be there.
Yep.
So everybody gets a free popsicle at the end.
So hey, we could do that sign if you want me to put it at the registration thing. But are you actually just able to email me something? I can print it out here.
Yeah, I'll do that.
That'd be the easiest.
Okay.
I can't do color, but that's okay.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
And then there's,
Right.
by the way, there's also the bike people that will be at the start and then at the town
Right.
picnic.
So I sent out a note to the PV Forum today about Karma Bikes will be both at the starting line for a quick ABC safety check, and then they'll also stay at the town picnic. Just for visibility and in case people want to do anything with their bikes. So.
I'm gonna give them a bike. I'm give them my bike I've had since college.
I'm pretty sure I've got a bike they can have too, so.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, well, great work on Zots. Thank you, John. Same with the town picnic. I think we're good to go. It's kind of late to change a whole lot right now. All the furniture will be delivered tomorrow. Everything else comes on Saturday, the inflatables, the face painting, the petting zoo, all the booths. We got really good turnout for the booths this year. I'm a little worried. I'm gonna run out of space, but that's a good problem to have. With the fire truck, we'll have the new Portola Valley Sheriff emergency trailer, which will be interesting, WPB ready and WP cert. We will have the band, so we have live music this year.
What
Playing,
time
we
do you-
have food trucks, we have the Boy Scouts serving hamburgers. It's gonna be busy.
What time is the band there?
I believe we said 12 to 2.
Okay, what's their name again?
It's the Windy Hill Bluegrass
Oh, yeah.
Bland.
Sure,
It's Dana Breen's son.
Yeah, Brian. Or
So
something.
it should just be fun, light music for little kids to get out there and dance on the grass.
Sure.
The inflatables will be out there. I'm still worried about the home run fence, but we'll just have to deal with it.
Yeah, I'll look again tomorrow. I'm looking at my thing from Justin, who just simply said that he went because it kept being knocked down by kids, and so he made it much more secure, but also made it such that you can't easily take it apart and put it back together. It's a
Yeah, I
major-
know. I'm just worried it's going to get knocked down anyway, but we'll just deal with it. So, like I said, on the town picnic, there's not much more to do. Hope I'll see you there.
Great.
Any other questions on Zots or the town
Well,
picnic?
By the way, I'll note that it's supposed to rain on Sunday, so as
I
far as
know.
the picnic goes, I think we hopefully got lucky.
Well, I think the weather should be nice too. It'll be, I think, good weather for a run, and then the picnic, not too hot, not too cold. And then we'll get some rain, which will be good.
Yeah, except that the softball is the next day.
Yeah, well,
Anyway.
good luck with that.
Right.
Okay. Field usage fees. Dave, any update?
Sure. So I heard from Menlo Park before last. I hadn't really digested it. So our fees are way less than Menlo Park's.
Is that right? Because I hear the opposite just from players. So in
Really?
terms of,
Okay. Well, I
yeah.
think it depends what you're doing.
Yeah.
You can yeah, I think it depends what you're doing. They're interested in that they weight soccer fields much more expensively than baseball fields. And I don't know if we want to do something to consider that. And they have resident and non-resident, which we kind of do, but not really. But then they also do adult over youth by about a 2-to-1 ratio, which is a little higher than us. It seems like from our fees, we're more like 1.5 times.
Yeah. Is it though? Is it the same structure, or is it by the hour versus instead of by the player?
But yeah, it's by hour, by team,
Yeah.
by hour.
It's a little hard to compare then.
Yeah. So you really have to kind of guess how much a team uses a field over the thing.
Yeah.
But I think we offer a better value. And I got a hold of Woodside actually today, just to see how they rent out the Barkley soccer and baseball field. And they rent that out at monthly for like $875 each for either one. And you get it. It's kind of like how we do it, but you get it as much as you would want. It's not per player. It's just like like if you use it one day in that month and you got a reservation, then you pay $875. If you use it like every waking moment,
Right.
You pay $875. The only difference is that like if 2 soccer teams are both using the soccer field, then they split the $875.
Yeah.
Then the other thing is that's only for youth sports, which we of course don't want to do. So
Right.
It's kind of line in the sand. I'd like people's thoughts on whether we want to bother, like whether we want to charge more for the soccer fields or the baseball fields. I don't feel like we don't care that much. And I don't want to.
Actually, for me, frankly, it's the opposite problem, but it's due to something different. The soccer, frankly, I lose a lot of money on the soccer,
Okay.
and on the softball, it's fine, but that's because we have 150 to 200 players in the softball versus 60 to 80 or whatever it is, and And so it's just probably a little bit amortized, but the math is simple on the soccer. Let me just say, because when I said, I think I hear otherwise, because we charge $130 for both per season.
Mhm.
And
Per player per
total
season, you mean?
per player per season, right? For both soccer and softball. I'm told all the time. In fact, I can even show you the note from one guy that says, I'm not going to play because, I don't want to pay that much. But the math is pretty simple, which is $62 of it is user fees, right? So that leaves $60 per player. And if the referees, and this is the other thing, in soccer, the referees are much more expensive, right? Because you have 3 of them. And they're like, it's just been running up. And so you got I'll say over $320 per day. And so you're talking about, again, another 4,000, 5,000. You're talking about almost $100 of just referees. So I'm already at $162, and I haven't done anything else. Equipment, lining. So maybe it's a little less than that because of the referees, but nonetheless, that's the math, right? And I think it starts with the user fees because everybody's paying the referee fees. So I assumed that it was just that the other, it was the user fees. It could be something else, and I think this is the difference between youth and adult, which is in the youth they don't notice it as much because, like in the CYSA or whatever they call it now, the Alpine Strikers, they'll pay $1,000 or whatever it is, per season. So $60 versus $40 is not showing up, even close to showing up, right, in the number. And even AY is probably a little more, but they think they're getting something more else from it, right? For the adults, it's like there's no coaches, right? So, it's just they think, oh my God, why am I paying? If I show up only half the time, I'm paying $20 for an hour to go, just run around on a field. Anyway,
I'm sorry. So I'm new to this conversation, but I'm a little confused because I thought it was just a field rental fee that Dave was talking about. And John, it sounds like you're talking about referee costs and a whole lot of other things. And are we comparing apples to apples, or?
So what I'm saying is that the user fees are half of the cost. See, in most, it used to be, much less than that. And I think I thought that's what was happening in Menlo Park and Palo Alto and elsewhere, where it was like the equivalent of, say, $15. And so, that it was the user fee, because we're all paying the same, everything else.
But like, I guess my question is I thought Alpine Little League hired its own umpires. So they may have to rent the field, but then they're responsible for getting their own umpires.
Yeah. And so do I. I'm just comparing it to kind of,
okay.
So the user fees are just a major component of the overall cost of operation.
So,
for the adults anyway.
So John, just so you know, like if you were renting let's say you're a resident of Menlo Park and you wanted a field for, what do you got? How long do you use it? Do you use it for 5 hours?
2 hours.
Sunday? What?
That's 9 to 3 hours.
Okay, 3 hours.
Yeah.
Right. So then you'd be paying 3 hours times their $152 for soccer adult resident fee because you have to pay whatever is what their fee is, times 13 weeks is $6,000 of users fees or field fees.
That's a lot. Yeah,
that's a lot. Versus you paid $2,700 for your 44 guys or 44 people, right? So
exactly. Yep. I thought they were less, so that's good, because then I'll kind of use that to explain it to people, because again, I do hear it a fair amount. I can't tell you how many times I hear some number and they go, oh boy, that's like 2 registration fees or something. That's just a running joke about how expensive it is to just participate in these things. But anyway.
So is our objective, this has been on the agenda for a while. Is our objective we have just an ongoing kind of calibration of, are they in line, or did we originally start out thinking that we were out of line and that we wanted to adjust it?
That was my thinking. I thought because what happened was a while ago, 10 years, I don't know, it was only $15 per player, right? And per season, and then we quadrupled it, right, to 60. And in fact, for the men's league, so it's competitive adult, it's like $90, and now more like $93 because they went and did some additional increase. And so it's 4 to 6 times what it was, and that was because there was some financial crisis at the time. I don't know quite why, but and it feels like we're in a very different period, but we never really revisited it. All right, so I was thinking that it was unnecessarily high, or at least allocated wrong between the different groups, especially because again, you got the youth, you got somebody like Alpine Strikers who uses it every day for 4 to 6 hours.
They use it they probably use it 3 hours every weekday, but they use it a lot all day on a weekend.
Right, something like that, yeah. But it's like 4 hours, 3 to 7 or something, probably something like that. Anyway, at least they used to. So anyway, but frankly, if we think that we're lower, then I think we just drop it, right? Because I don't think I don't want to raise the fees. I don't think we need to. We only did it before because the town council came to us and said, we are, in a financial crisis or whatever, and we have to figure out how to recover more of our costs. And now the flip side of it is just this background was what they said was, look, we're only covering 20% of our costs. We had a target of getting it to 50%, which is why we raised them approximately, because the youth wasn't used as much. But anyway, and that that sort of made some level of sense. As to whether you really need to cover your costs, I don't know. And then the reality is, this is all kind of nickels compared to the town budget, right? That
Yeah, I mean, they're not recovering their costs at all.
Mhm.
It's just kind of,
But even if we increase or decrease it, we'd be talking about $10,000, and I think it's like nothing compared to the size of the town budget.
Agreed, yeah, no. I don't think we're solving it for the town budget.
No.
Yeah, one thing Dave brought up is I think you mentioned that Menlo Park has a different fee for residents versus non-residents. Did you mention that?
Yeah, it's probably by it's probably a loosely defined resident, right?
Well, I guess I'm not saying that I'm proposing this, but I do think sometimes it makes sense to look at these fee structures and giving the resident more of a benefit than a non-resident using the facilities. Or I noticed in the classes offered through the town center, there's one fee. There's not and Menlo Park does have a resident fee versus a non-resident fee. So I don't know. That's something to think about.
Yeah, I think that would be hard. Like, the primary users are like Alpine Little League, which is a mix of 100% residents for PV kids, but then it's also Woodside Menlo Park kids. So then do you charge them? Do we just say they're a resident or not resident?
Yeah, it might make more
That's
sense.
a tough one. Like, what do you do? Like AYSO R25? Well, yeah, they're primarily Portola, but they're also Woodside kids too. Ladera kids. So like, it's a tough thing to draw. Whereas we could just say, like, we could just be like, you can only rent the field if you're a resident, right? Like, kind of like Woodside says, you can only rent these fields if you are a youth sports organization that services Woodside kids. You don't have to service exclusively Woodside kids or exclusively PV kids, but
yeah. Well, it might make more sense to look at if we start looking at individual classes, the stuff through the town center that was chatted about last month, right? Because there, the individual and where they live. So it's just a thought.
Yeah,
I
we
think
talked
they
about
already
that.
do that.
last
I think
time.
they already do that for town classes.
I don't know.
Yeah, because residents can register early,
They can register early, but the price is the same.
is the same, okay.
Yeah, but
great.
Menlo Park gives a discount to its residents.
Okay, all right, well, yeah. So in terms of the field usage, are we satisfied with where we're at right now? Should I leave it on the agenda? We need to do more.
Dave, do you feel pretty confident in that summary that we're actually lower than other towns?
I think we're certainly lower than Menlo Park. We're
Yeah, I
not,
think
but I don't know how people are using the 875 from to rent a Barclay field, right? I don't know how hardcore they're using it. You could, it's really a deal, honestly. Like if you can get a field for $875 or whatever for $2,500 for a season for the 3 months, that's pretty good.
Yep. Okay. All right. I had this other thought just real quick, which is that really what it drives though is if it gets even more expensive is usage by, I'm going to call them corporations like Alpine Strikers, ones that can run a business having hundreds of kids out there. And that level of utilization. I mean, it's great. By the way, I love seeing it too. When we're out there on Sundays or whatever weekdays and that practices, there's like 50, 60 kids on that soccer field at the town center, all at the same time practicing, and it's wonderful to see. But anyway, that's what it would drive.
Be interesting to do an audit of their player numbers.
Yeah, right.
Because that's the thing. If we stay with player numbers, then as they get more players and more use, then
Right.
Then they have to pay more for better or for worse.
Right. All right.
Well,
Anyway,
I certainly don't think we want to do anything to discourage use of the fields.
right.
Certainly don't want to turn them over to any kind of housing opportunities.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
what's the consensus here? Dave, do you have a recommendation?
I don't have a hard I feel it's just I don't have a recommendation. I'm torn between it seems more fair to just pay for the field by some amount of use as opposed to by amount of players. That honestly, those ways seem to hurt Little League pretty badly, like doubling their fees. So that makes me a little sad. So that's why I'm wondering if we want to fix if you could fix that by having soccer pay a little more as a multiplier to kind of get us back to that. Oh, sorry, that's if we want to be at cost neutral. But otherwise, everyone else is getting a 50% discount if we buy those numbers as well. So seems like we're in a not horrible place.
I personally don't feel the need to get back to revenue neutral. I'm not sure that is our objective.
Yeah.
Primarily considering the fact that this is not a financial endeavor, for lack of a better word. It's just kind of a check the box in terms of participation, for lack of a better word. And so if we can do something to make it more equitable, maybe for Little League,
Yeah.
I don't feel a need to make it revenue neutral. That's just my position.
Yeah, frankly, I was just trying to make it so that it would be more encouraging for people to be able to use it, right? Where, these costs, these fees were not discouraging use. And I thought we had done something 10 years ago which did do that. So I keep going back to if we're competitive, I'll say, if we're comparable, or better to other towns, personally, I would let it drop.
Okay.
Right? Let's just take the do nothing approach, because nobody. Again, I just, the intent was only if we could make it. If we were doing something was where we were higher than everybody else. But if we're not,
What's
okay,
the is there like a Menlo? Is there an equivalent to our adult soccer leagues in Menlo Park?
there are in Palo Alto, there are co-ed soccer leagues, and there's a Woodside softball league. I have to ask. There's lots of people that play in that. I can ask them
Woodside
about the
softball's
fee.
at, but they're at Woodside softball plays at the elementary school, though, right?
They do. I don't even know if they pay anything
They
for
probably
that.
don't. They probably don't pay for that for field use
Right.
for that. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Like how much does it cost to rent the Mayfield fields in Palo Alto?
Right.
For
I'm
example.
sure it's all online. But anyway, it doesn't sound like we're going to be dropping it very significantly, no matter what we do.
So what I'm hearing from the team right now is that it's status quo until we have different information.
Sure.
Yeah, I would just take it off the agenda personally.
Okay. That's a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Okay.
Park and Rec Community Service.
I did, Rita. Turn around and see me raise my hand.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hello. All right. My wife asked if I voted, but yeah, I had my hand up.
You did. You voted.
Yes.
Thank you, Dave, for
Okay.
doing the work on that.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. I was going to move forward. Christy, welcome. Did you want to make a public comment or are you just listening? Christy?
Let's count that as listening.
Okay. All right. Let's move ahead then. Pickleball nets and line painting.
Yep.
Line painting, we do have a contractor. We are waiting for them to have an opening. I talked to Justin today. He said that he thinks it will be late September. What they want to do first is power wash the courts. I guess they took down some of the vines and whatever's on the vine discolored the court, blah, blah, blah. So they want to, as soon as they get notice that the painting contractor is available, they want to power wash the courts, leave those to dry for a day, and then the painter will come in and paint on one day and they'll be done. So Justin is going to let me know as soon as he has a date. I will work with Cindy to inform the pickleball group, as well as I will inform people who have reservations. But the goal is to have that done by late September, and it is in progress. We do have a contractor. We're waiting for an open date.
Great. You said the end of September, right? That's so in the next couple of weeks.
That's what I've been told, yes.
That's awesome.
Yep, very happy about that. The pickleball nets are a little more troublesome. So I've been going back and forth with the town center, town management, sorry, on the storage of the pickleball nets, which has not been resolved. We do not have a confirmed storage space for them. The recommendation that I have made to the town management is that we store them, and with the agreement of Cindy and the pickleball group is that we store them at one end of the all sports court,
Right.
to make it easier to roll them in and out of the tennis courts. And town management is concerned about that approach because they say that inhibits the ability to play full court basketball. Our pushback on that has been that there's been a skateboard ramp at the end of the all sports court for 7-8 years now, which has not allowed the playing of full court basketball. And to the best of my knowledge, or anybody that I can speak to, there has been zero complaints or interest in the fact that we are lacking a full basketball court in Portola Valley. People play basketball on the half courts, they come out and shoot hoops, but nobody plays full
I have another point to add
court
to that.
basketball. So
I
I do not feel that is an impediment.
I talked to, when I was talking to Howard and stuff, I'm not even sure what the concern is, because if they want to play full court basketball, they can. These are enrollers, right? Just move them away, right?
I know.
So, again, they certainly don't play so much that they would come out every day and feel like they had to move them. Of course, that's exactly what the pickleball people are going to do. They're going to come out every day and they're going to move them.
They're going to move it.
Right? So even if they needed to.
And then Jeremy pushed back and said, well, the town council did not approve, when they approved the purchase of them, the storage of them on the all sports court. And I said, well, to my humble opinion, that's a town manager decision. But that being said, I lost that battle.
Really?
On the agenda of the September 28th town council meeting is the line item of where to store the pickleball nets.
This is ridiculous, Patty.
I completely agree. I am not happy, and I've made it very clear that I'm not happy. But like I said, I've lost that battle.
Well,
I think
I'll call Jeremy, because
go ahead.
Howard, just say stop being silly, right? You wonder why it's all this on the PV forum complaining about the town staff and the town council, right? It's just, please don't be bureaucratic.
Well, I even said to Jeremy, I said, look, it was approved 2 months ago. July 13th was the day it was approved. We don't even have them on order. And they take 8 to 10 weeks to get here. So why can't we even put them on order? He said, we can't do that until we have a place to store them. I said, Jeremy, I'm sorry, but I am just inflamed at that response.
Right.
So if you want to call him, I would empower you to. If you can get him, if you can move him, great. If not, I have talked to Cindy and she will bring out the pickleball people in force on September 28th, if needed, to come to what I perceive as very realistic. Christy, we can't hear you. Christy.
I know I'm on
You
it.
need to go on
Can you hear
mute.
me?
Yeah. You can mute
Christy.
Patty, you can mute her. There you go.
Can you?
Oh, she can also unmute herself.
So before we open it up for public comment, does anybody else on the committee have anything to say about that?
Nothing to add.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, Christy, we can hear you now.
I agree with you, and I think there should be a storage place. I'm on a flight right now. I'm sorry for the noise, and I want you to know I agree.
Okay, thank you, Christy. Appreciate that. Okay, well, I hope you're successful, John, but other than that, it's on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
anything else on that subject?
Well, I didn't speak up, but I I am in complete agreement that they can be stored at the end of the court. And actually, when I was at the mixer, I did speak with somebody who plays half-court basketball there and plays regularly. And I said, in your opinion, have you ever seen people play full court? And he said, no, I've never seen anyone play full court. And that's somebody that regularly uses the basketball court.
Mhm.
So,
But just to be devil's advocate, have we seen two groups play half court?
Not much.
nope.
I mean, there's no question that all sports court gets used, but again, to have his original point, it had a skateboard ramp in the middle of it. So,
Yeah, that's, I get, that's a very good argument.
Well, no, Jeremy's response to that was that the skateboard ramp was a pilot.
for 10 years.
Yeah, no, I'm just telling you what he said.
But also, again, these are on wheels, right? If they're in your way, we're not even storing them. We're just pushing them aside.
I know, John, you're preaching to the choir here. Okay. I'm just even frustrated that we haven't put the order in.
Yeah, well, again, that's Jeremy has to self-reflect on this.
Mhm.
His ability to get things done, frankly.
Well, I think he's well, whatever. Okay, we've said enough on that. At least I have. Otherwise, I'll just go over the edge. Agenda item number E, letter E, the Parks and Recreation town classes. I have not done anything on this. My conversations with Jeremy have been regarding the pickleball nets, and I really didn't want to talk to him about anything else. So I apologize. I have not
So
done anything on this.
I thought that in the last meeting, we chatted about that we were gonna look at the site and look at, like, Lindsay had the Menlo Park catalog, which I have too, and sort of look at the classes and what was there and if we had any recommendations. So I thought it was tabled actually till next month anyway.
That was the charter, I believe.
Oh, all right.
What I was supposed to do, I think, was go back to Jeremy and talk about our opinion that since we're an advisory committee, we really lacked authority and or the operational capability to manage the classes. And I did not do that. But you're right on the charter. The charter was tabled, yes.
And then I just wanted to note that letter D got skipped.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Letter D got skipped. We went to letter E, but there was the dog park. as
Oh, I
letter
see.
D.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I did skip the dog park because there's nothing to say on the dog park. Yes, but I did send an email. Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Anything else on the town classes before we go backwards? I'll try and do something about that if I regain my conversational ability with Jeremy. Letter D on the dog park. My action item was to, which I did, send an email to John Silver, who is the unofficial leader of the Rogue Dog Park, and also to Judith Murphy, who was no longer, but was the chairperson of the Conservation Committee, who had held out an olive branch to try and help us find a location for the dog park. I sent them both an email asking for their help in resurrecting the conversation around a dog park. I did hear back from Judith. She said she would be very willing to help us in any way that she can. I have not heard back from John Silver. And with the town picnic situation, I haven't had a chance to follow up with him. So I will try and re-engage with John Silver and get that back on the agenda.
I have a dog and I would be happy to help you out with that if you need some help. And I see John Silver regularly, so I'm sort of surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten back to you.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a very important issue for him.
I think it is. I think he doesn't really like the answer that we want to give him, which is, the rogue parks are rogue and we're looking for an official one. But that's just my thing. I don't know John well, so that's
Well,
just my
also he's
opinion.
torn. I think he's torn because, you know, he also supports the, what do they call it, conservation committee. So, you know, when they say we don't want anything, you know, that's not natural, or, you know, no fences, and just, you know, anybody walking under trees that drip, whatever they drip, he's supportive of that. So he also probably is not sure where to put one, but it does feel like he's struggling right now in terms of figuring out how to keep the dog group where the dog group can go, and so is a little more motivated to work with them, and since he's got a good relationship, of course, with them, he wants to see if he can work something. So we just need to keep pushing that forward, I think.
Well, Karen, if you wouldn't mind, if you see him, the next time you see him, would you feel comfortable having this conversation with him and just say, hey, I realize Patty reached out to you. Maybe, what would the next steps be in your mind?
I'd be happy to do that. And I know him, and he's never shy to have a meeting and discuss things.
Oh,
So I'm sort of surprised.
I've heard his comments on many, many meetings, and I don't think he's shy at all.
But yeah, so that's why I'm just sort of surprised he hasn't responded. So I will definitely check in with him.
Okay, thank you, Karen. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
We talked about having a meeting, with Judy, and then down, at some of the places we have suggested.
Right.
So
right.
Let's definitely do that. Just to give you, by the way, some more context on the stroke, because I even got a text just a couple hours ago on this. It's John's that was forwarded, but so because part of it was they were going to Armandale, but Gary Moisef is the neighbor right across, and didn't like all the noise on top of all the construction. So they went back to they're now mostly a Corte Madera, but it's but there's construction there too, and it's not ideal. So he wants to also use the town center, but now all the kids have started up again, and he's struggling to figure out when the fields are used, because he wants to use the fields when they're empty. But it is hard to figure that out, because we have a field schedule, but it doesn't say when there's a game. It just says basically that for the soccer field, Alpine Strikers has it when nobody else is using it, right? And it's somewhat the same for the baseball field, right? Other than the end of the season for the adults, Little League has it at all times, right? But it's not easy to figure out what slots are available. So he's challenged. Now I'll also note, getting back to the rogue part of it, is that you're not only allowed to have dogs off leash anywhere like that, because none of them are enclosed, but there's actually signs up at these places, at these fields, saying no dogs right on the field. So they're clearly violating town policy. And in fact, he was a little surprised, because I think there was always a sign on the soccer field. There's always been one at Rosati's. There was one forever on the soccer field at Town Center. It disappeared somehow a couple of years ago, and I think when they started using it up again, somehow the sign went back up, and it was kind of
well,
frustrating.
they're violating several principles and laws.
Right.
San Mateo leash law,
Yep.
state law about animals on school property, and town ordinance. So.
Yep. And to Carrie's point last week, I do think it needs to be very large, so it's not going to be easy, because I don't think people are going to go into one of these tiny little areas.
No, I agree. And it also it can't be, people are used to turf, right?
Right.
They don't really want their dogs running around in an area that has a lot of gopher holes and things like that, which I totally understand. So it's not going to be easy. I completely understand.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of demand for it. So
Yep.
I think we need to keep it on the horizon.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Karen, for your help there. F, no new news on the housing element. From what I updated the committee last time, the town has submitted their report And we're waiting to hear back from the state on any comments regarding our proposal, which does include housing next to the Little League Park at Ford Field.
I guess I have a comment on that.
Yeah,
The comment might be. Okay. That, I'm sorry, I'm on a flight. So if the baseball field is ever reduced to a smaller area, then it's no longer Little League distance and legitimate for Little League, therefore Little League would not be allowed to play there. So have you brought this up for discussion? And for the knowledge of everyone, that it has to stay a certain area or Little League official level. Little League cannot be played.
okay, so if I understand your question, I have not heard any indication that they wanted to reduce the size of the Little League field to accommodate the housing. David, has anybody else on the Parks and Rec Committee heard that?
I've not heard that. They're talking about-
International Little League needs to write a letter to describe what it has to be.
So
So I will give you the contact for International Little League and they will give you the dimensions and you can pass it on to town staff. How does that sound?
that's fine, Christy. Thank you. I appreciate that. I haven't heard that it's an issue, but
I'm
that
not sure
information
if
will be
they
helpful.
know that has to stay the same size. And
Okay.
I'm going to take off soon and so I won't be able to talk soon.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Christy.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. G, Hawthorne Property Planning, Karen, as our representative. You're on mute.
Yeah. So I have no official news from the town. I did have my like onboarding meeting with Jeremy and let him know I was doing that. And I think he was, well, he didn't know. And then he was gonna follow up and see who the other committee representatives were gonna be. I do know that Hawthorne's has sent out an invitation for what they're calling a public open house. And they've got one in there, that's going to go over their goals and plans. One is on September 29th at their office. It's not at the property. And the other one is on October 20th. It's a virtual meeting. So, but that was something because I had gone to the previous meeting at the town. I was on a mailing list for that, but I have no updates officially from the town or being a liaison on this committee.
Okay. Well, we will wait to hear them. Dog park, keep in mind dog park. Although I don't think we could put a dog park on Mid-Penn.
Nope.
So. Not gonna happen. Okay, letters H and I. I should have put on here, we did agree to postpone until October, but I would like to remind everybody that before the October meeting, I'll resend out the charter again. I think the charter is most important. I'm also going to try and take a look at the web pages because they're very old. They still have some of the COVID restrictions on there about, locked tennis courts and things like that, which we don't have anymore. So obviously there's a requirement to update those. But we can jump on that on in October. And J, California State Grant, I do not have any updated information as well. nothing has changed there. I did want to mention again, sorry for the new business. I was contacted by Jeremy that there is a resident of Woodside that would like to donate a horse sculpture to Portola Valley. It's quite large. It's actually the size of a live horse. It's, I don't know the material, it's whatever they make sculptures out of these days. They were getting the inputs of certain committees as to whether we had any opinion about whether we wanted to accept the donation, and if so, where would we put it? So I actually attended a meeting with the Conservation Committee, Parks and Rec, and a couple other committees I can't even remember. The general consensus was that sure, if somebody wants to give us a sculpture, that would be nice. But there was not general consensus about where to put it. Concerns about danger, kids would climb on it, you know, fall. Concerns about open space, scenic corridor, lots of different things. So next on the agenda was that Jeremy was going to work with the town staff to come up with 3 or 4 areas where we might want to propose putting the horse sculpture, and then bring it back to this committee of committees to get our feedback. So I don't know if anybody has any strong feelings about that. As Parks and Rec, I really wasn't too, you know, invested in this. Maybe I should be, I don't know, but if anybody has any strong feelings, I'd love to hear them.
Did you
How
see?
how about in between those 2 beautiful oak trees in Dorothy Ford Park?
Underneath their drip lines.
That's right.
A gateway to Portola Valley.
I know it. So we don't build a 3-story apartment building there.
Yeah.
That's right. The place I thought about was where Springdown is. You know, that open space that they won't let us put a dog park on, put a horse sculpture in the middle there.
That'd be a great place for a dog park. That'd be great.
It's a perfect place for a dog park.
Yeah.
But, anyway.
Did you see the sculpture? I mean, is it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I actually have a picture of it if you actually want to see it, but
Sure. Can you hold
it's,
it up?
see if I can find it here.
You know, here's another thought. I'm brainstorming, so bear with me, but Ormondale is named, that was a horse farm. And I wonder if that's something that Ormondale would be interested in. I'm just throwing that out as an idea.
Minus the kid climbing worry.
Well, that,
So we did confirm that the base is not coming with it. I think the kit is there just to show the, you know, height of it. But the base is not coming with it, so it's just the horse.
Looks like a great thing for kids to climb on.
I know. Actually, Karen, somebody did bring up Ormondale. And then that's when we started discussing the fact that kids would be climbing all over it and getting hurt at Ormondale.
It's okay.
But yeah, this is the
Cut down all the
sculpture.
trees.
There it is.
Let's call the ambulance company, see if they'll donate.
See, there's a nice dog. Why do we get a dog sculpture right next to it?
Yeah.
well, there's the idea to have that and the dog park together.
I think that would be good, and have the dogs piss all over the horse. That would be good. Sorry, did I say that? I did. Who's recording this? Stop that. I don't want to record that.
Please. You can-
Anyway, that's the horse, if anybody has any ideas about the horse.
I mean, not bad. Actually, one place is Triangle Park. I don't know, you know, it's not really.
We did
used that
think
much.
about Triangle Park too, again. A lot of kids climbing all over it, but
It's okay. Kids. I had a group of boys down at the softball field, and I had to take a pickaxe away from them the boys are going to be boys and they're going to climb on stuff, and same with girls, but still, I'm not too worried about them falling off, they climb trees.
Pickaxe? I don't want my pickaxe taken to a horse sculpture. My God. Anyway, that's what Jeremy's dealing with instead of where to put the rolling pickleball nets. Nice to know he's focused on the important things. All right, that's all I have. I think, did I turn the page? Nope, that's all I have. Anybody else have anything else?
I just want to make sure, because we kind of glossed over what Christy was saying, and I do want to note that I think this whole housing thing is putting not just Dorothy Ford Park, the open space, at risk. It's putting the baseball field at risk. Maybe it's the very long term, and the only way that you that doesn't happen is when you've got motivated people to kind of push it in whatever direction you think it should be. Because I feel like it's heading very heavily down that direction of turning that whole area into housing. First, just the open space, and one day the baseball field, unless there are very, very motivated people. And that's just Little League. So just want to know
No,
that.
I agree. I think, and I think it's a bigger issue, obviously, when you talk about taking out stables at Glen Oaks, then where does it go from there? You end up being that whole corridor
Mhm.
all the way up to Rosati's, and maybe even the Rosati's field, unfortunately, looking at housing, which is very
Right.
unfortunate, but
Mhm.
hopefully we won't come to that.
Yep.
Okay. All right, that's
Very
all
good.
I have.
Everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
All right, thank you.
Have a good evening.